Hey guys, it's Captain Matt here with Captain's Quarters First Class, a podcast about outdoor lighting. Well, we are in the middle of December here. Most installations are done. We have a few that we're still doing here. You might have a few you're still doing here, but for the most part, it is over. We now get to take a couple weeks off. We hope that there's no fix requests, no big storms. We're all just kind of waiting for our time to enjoy the time with our families and kind of celebrate, look back, and enjoy some of the fruits of our labor. And then we get into takedown season, and it happens fast. So after a few weeks, we should all start takedowns, meaning we get to take down everything that we just put up. And not having a game plan for that is a horrible idea. I mean, you can ask people in the industry, you can ask around and get 27 different ideas of how to do takedowns. There's not really well, there are wrong ways, but having a plan of action and a method, a process of how you do takedowns, as long as you have that, you are golden. There's no wrong way in that regards. But if when you don't have a process, you don't have a plan, or your guys, if you have multiple crews and one guy's doing takedowns one way and another guy's taken down a different way, it's going to create hell and chaos and lose you a bunch of money during 2026 or whatever next year's installation season is. So it's super vital that you have a plan, you have a process. And that's why I always encourage people before they get started in Christmas to do their own house, to do a friend's house. Next day, take it all down, wait a week, and then go put it all back up. Because you have to put up for takedown and you have to take down for put up, right? You always have to keep those things in mind. Otherwise, your future self is going to be pissed at your past self, or your future employees are going to complain about how takedowns were done from the previous years. And it will add hours and hours and hours a week, which means multiple man hours, right? Hours for each crew a week, times that by however many guys you have on a crew, 3, 4 guys on a crew. All of a sudden, you are just bleeding money from not preparing and not doing takedowns correctly. Now, currently, we use Company Cam. Company Cam is a great tool to use. You can store pictures in there. We use it. We store everything in there. We have our checklist in there for installations. We have our checklist for takedowns, right? So on that takedown checklist, there's everything that we need, right? We need to take pictures of the takedown. We do a video walkthrough of what was done, where the lead cords are, where the plugs are, where the timers are, what kind of timers they have. All of that. They're following a checklist. They take it all down. We label it, right? We have our roof lines. We always know. We use colored zip ties. Those zip ties represent a certain run on our maps. We put down how many strands we put on each tree, each bush, if it was a branch wrap, candy cane wrap, what color lights it was, so that no matter who does that job next year, whether they're a brand new person or a veteran, they'll be able to look at our maps and understand exactly what they need to do if there's no changes to decorating, obviously, so that they know what we did last year so they can repeat it easily this year without tangles, without trying to figure out where does this C9 run go? How many lights did that bush have? When you have it so laser focused laid out like that, it makes in reinstalls a breeze. So if you say that new installs are easier than reinstalls, it's because you have a broken process. You're not doing it well enough. If reinstalls take you longer than new installs, it's that simple, right? So when we know everything and where it goes, and Company Cam stores that so everyone can log on, we can see who took it down, who was on site. So if there's ever problems, we can kind of say, hey, look, every time Jim's on site, there's an issue with the reinstall next year, so that we can go back and we can help figure out what the problem was or what happened. Was it something on the checklist that we didn't have? Was it not good enough training, or was this employee just cutting corners and then we didn't find out in time? But without tracking it, without knowing it, there's no way to correct it in the future. So takedowns should be fast, super fast. If you compare it to how long it takes to put up, I know everyone says branch wraps take the same amount of time to take down as they do to put up, and just a crock of shit. No, they don't. They take longer than a candy cane wrap, than an outer wrap, than whatever you want to call it, but they definitely do not take as long to take down as they do to put up. If that's the case, you need to go get some installed training and you need to get it fast. It's just not accurate. I like to take all the lights down, put them on the ground, wind them up when I'm done, especially for a branch wrap, right? Just get them all, drop them to the ground. Once you're done, you get down, wind them all back up. You can do your counts on the ground after they're all down. C9s, in their own bags so that they don't get all tangled. Super badass. Ridge lines suck. We all know that. The ridge clips all get stuck onto each other. So that's the one clip that you might actually want to take off. Um, you know, Depending on how quickly you can reinstall them next year. But ridge clips really get stuck really bad. I've never found a great way. I know some guys like actually pull them all together and they zip tie them and all that. That could be a great way. I feel like that method would take my crews longer to do than just undoing them and redoing them next year for the clips themselves. But hey, I'm willing to be wrong on that. So I want you to really consider what happens, like whether you put them in a bin or in a bag or in a tote or in a milk crate, wherever you store them. If this is your first year, second year, third year, or if you just had problems with reinstalls this year, no matter what year you're on, what does it look like when you take it down? Right? Is it going to be an obvious tangled mess? Or you kind of can really lay out how it's going to look? And if you've been doing the same amount of time, when you put lights in, you'll know, hey, man, when we try to pull them out, it's going to get all tangled. That's why I know we use bags. And the trick to bags is not to try to pull out one thing at a time. Trick to a bag is opening it up, turning it upside down, picking straight up. Boom. Nothing gets tangled that way. Now, of course, some of the C9s get tangled, but they're not super tangled, where in terms of if you just pull a little bit of weight, they'll come undone. It's usually just the clips kind of holding on to the zip wire rather than actual tangles in the wire itself. And so that for me has been the best way to do it. And there's just no tangles that way. But when you try to pull it out, you find out like little tails of mini lights kind of drop down. They get stuck in a C9, which then gets stuck on another mini light, which then gets stuck on a clip. And it becomes a nightmare. And it becomes a nightmare fast. I've done it where I do, when I have big trees that I do C9 wraps on, I'll store them in separate little bags inside of the bigger bag. So this is tree one, this is tree two, this is tree three, four, five, six, seven, etc. That way, I'm not trying to pull out strands and figure out what goes where on bigger properties. It's just like, okay, we have 7 large trees, a roof line, and we also have branch wraps and spritzers and all of this jazz. What is the best way for next year to make this go faster? Each tree being in its own bag inside of another bag is the fastest. So I can take that bag out, drop it in front of that tree, tell the guys, this is for that tree, go. This is for that tree, go. This is for that tree, go. Right. On smaller jobs, you don't really need to worry so much about it because pretty easy, right? Okay, we got a roof line, we got a couple of trees and bushes that when you get 5 strands, that gets 6, that gets 7. Super easy. No real reason to separate it and make more work for yourself on something like that. Because when it's a smaller job and you try to break it all down like that into separate bags, it actually takes longer. So it's not as efficient. On the larger jobs or where there's more of an opportunity to get tangled, it is more efficient to spend a little bit of extra time, a little bit of extra money to separate it all out. So I want to encourage you too, is I know not everyone's in the Northeast and not everyone deals with snow and ice. We do here. And I think if you operate under that same level of urgency, you'll do yourself a favor, right? These lights that we all put up are 90 days. That's what they are intended for. That is their intended use. That's what they're warranted for. That's what the National Electric Code allows, right? Day 91 is technically considered a permanent installation when you're using line voltage Christmas lights, and you are using line voltage Christmas lights if you plug them into an outlet. That means they're 120. So you need to get them down. For me, right, it was always obvious because January, February is when we can get crazy snow, crazy cold temperatures, and crazy ice. So we're always, that usually comes at the end of January, beginning of February. Sometimes it comes earlier in January, but we're always fighting that. So the rush to urgency is to get down all the takedowns that we can before that ice comes. Because once that ice comes, we're fucked. We're going to have to come back in March or April when the ice melts. Otherwise, it's just going to risk the property or risk the product taking it down, right? The gutters, the roof, all that just frozen into it, or even lead cord just frozen into the ground, right? So we still have to come back. If you have to come back on a takedown, we all know how painful that is. No one loves takedowns because takedowns, we've already collected all of our money and we're just losing money. The longer something takes, the more money we lose, the less money we make. So it's important to get them done as fast as possible, but also be, I'm going to say gentle, right? Now, I don't mean super gentle, but I've seen guys take it down where they're literally breaking C9 sockets. C9 lights are the tops are popping off. Like they're just pulling everything way too hard. Or I see where they pull them out, literally the socket, and you still see the copper strands. Like takedown should be fast, but you have to be careful with them. You don't want to, if the client thinks there's an earthquake happening and they look out and like, what the hell are you doing? That's too hard, right? Take your time a little bit more than that. You can still go super fast and not cause yourself a bunch of fixes on reinstall from all the sockets and lights and all those things that you've broken during takedown by just being too hard on them. Again, super fast. I mean, you're talking about jobs that would take you 4 hours to install are probably going to take you 20 minutes to 30 minutes to take down. Like it is fast. The hardest part of takedowns for me is the room in the trucks, and the room in the trailers, because we can fill them up with not a full day of work, right? Because it's that much faster. I encourage everyone to get yours done as soon as possible. Our commercial clients, we start taking down January 2nd. The vast majority of residential, it's Little Christmas, right? As soon as Little Christmas is over, January 7th, January 6th, we start takedowns. We don't give it an option. It's not like, oh, yeah, you want to be taken down this week. Nope. We have too many clients for that. So it's literally just, we do it in areas and we just go, we take them down. Whoa, whoa, right? We're just taking down. I mean, probably 20 to 30 takedowns a day, right? It's that fast. We can't really give options. And anyone who wants them up longer, we have to charge them extra because we're ready to put everything away for the season. And if you want yours up longer, but we're in your area today, it's just going to cost us money. I tell all this to the clients beforehand, right? It's not a surprise. The expectation is set that takedowns happen geographically and not by request. And so that's how we do it. And I would encourage you to do the same thing. Otherwise, you find yourself spending a lot more windshield time and paying a lot more labor driving around than just doing what is most efficient for your company when you're trying to scale. Now, the difference is if you're doing commercial work, those are usually scheduled. There's usually real dates. So that kind of breaks that, but you can put in residentials with your commercial clients that have specific dates. For me, right, we have January 2nd, we have January 3rd, like it's all laid out very specifically in the contract with some of the commercial clients because they're larger. They're in a lot of them are interior, things like that. So it matters. But for residential, it doesn't. And I would encourage you to not let it matter and just get everyone done geographically and get them done as fast as possible. You should have no takedowns left by the third week of January. Everyone watching this, I can pretty much confidently say that. You know, even when we were doing a million, we were still down by the end of January, maybe the first week of February if we hit some snowy patches. But quick, quick, quick. You want them off, and the reason you want this done so quick is you don't want that looming over your head. You want everything down off the houses into your storage so you can actually run your numbers to see where you're at, so that you can say, okay, this was my plan for 2026, or this was my plan for this year. Now that I've got all this takedown money, because you don't know how much payroll is going to cost you. You don't know all these little things that you might have to do during takedown, fuel, all that, right? So get him down as fast as possible so that you can then review your numbers to say, okay, takedown cost me another 60,000. Perfect. I was budgeting 70. I made out, or oh shoot, I thought takedown was going to be 10,000. It was actually 60,000. I have to change all my plans going forward. That hurts my war chest. That hurts my advertising. But that's why it's so important to get it all down so that you know exactly what you're working with for the Christmas money for the rest of the year, so that you can plan and start talking to new commercial clients, new residential clients now in January and February and March. Start planting seeds and start getting budget negotiations and into their budgets, their planned budgets for the year, so that when Christmas rolls around, you're not trying to run around and do a big commercial job on short notice, which we all do, but it sucks because you don't get to deliver the same value or the same items that you would have, the same design, the same oversized decor that you would have done had you been talking to them in the first quarter and the second quarter, and then closing them for sure in the third quarter. All right, give yourself time. I love to close them in the first quarter, get that budget going, because then I give them a better price, they get a better price, everyone's happy, and then we actually get the things that we know we want, right? Because some of that cool oversized decor come October is out of the window unless you have it in inventory. So often right now, like when clients call me in November and December, like they are right now, it's like, hey, I'm going to send you some pictures of what we have in inventory right now. We're not going to be able to get any new oversized decor in on time. So these are your choices, right? So it really limits it. I had one client that wanted to do everything red and gold. Yeah, red and gold, everything. And it just wasn't an option because of the time frame, right? It was too late in the season. Now we were able to do a lot of red and gold, but the other things that they were looking for just weren't able to be done because of the time frame. So I have a meeting with them in January to discuss next year's decorating. Some of the commercial clients that told me no this year, I have appointments with them in January to talk about next year's decorating, so we can get everything ironed out, get it on the books, get it in their budget, so that we can just go give them what they're looking for and everybody be happy. All right. So takedowns, again, come up with a process, test it out, think about it. After your first day, review it. Ask your guys, hey, is there anything not clear? Is there anything you think I'm missing on this takedown? Is there anything, excuse me, is there anything that I have on here that you think isn't needed? Because it can be really easy to make that checklist so massive that it actually just becomes a waste of time. So be willing to review it with your guys every day for that first week to make sure you have what you think you have. It works. Because something that I have found, things that I make here sitting at a desk, and then I go out and try to do that checklist in the field, it does not translate into easy, right? It's like, wow, if I do the checklist I just created for my guys to do, they're going to be here forever. They're going to end up not doing the checklist at all because it's too complicated or it's asking too much. So I also encourage you, if you make a checklist, to you yourself, go out in the field and do that checklist while you're doing the task that you're going to be having your guys do, and find out, can you do it? Because that's a really, really awesome way to find out if your checklist is good or if it's bad. If you go do a takedown and you just follow the checklist and do nothing else, does anything get left? Like, oh shoot, we didn't have takedown wreaths, so now a wreath got left. Or we didn't say takedown garland, now garland got left. Those are just examples, right? Oh, do we take down the hooks? Do we leave the hooks? Do we leave the wires? Do we leave the plugs? Do we leave the timers? All of that. So it's one of those ways that you can really get down in the nitty gritty really quickly to find out if your process is going to work. And remember, when you come up with a process, be willing to optimize, be willing to make changes to make it better. All right, this has been Captain's Quarters First Class, a podcast about outdoor lighting. I am Captain Matt. You can check out CaptainMattOutdoors.com. I am a mentor for outdoor lighting guys, for Christmas guys, for soffit lighting guys, for landscape lighting guys, for guys who do all three, for guys who do two of the three, or for guys who just do one. I can help you with your Christmas game. So I don't care if you're doing 100,000 or 500,000. I can help you with that. My mentorship is a personal mentorship. It is not group calls. It is not just watching videos. It is real life on the phone, video chatting, all that jazz with me directly. Someone who's been in the trenches since 2009 and someone who is still out there doing it and making it work. All right, guys, Captain's Quarters First Class. I'll talk to you guys later.